If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as follow me and subscribe to me on all my other social media platforms. What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with part 2 of Under the Radar for the week of May 26th. Like I said in part 1, there was just a lot of albums to cover, and I decided, why don't we do 2 episodes? So here we are with part 2, but before I get started, a quick reminder that there is currently a giveaway going on right now. Once I hit 4,000 subscribers here on YouTube, I will be giving away 6 CDs, and to enter, check out in the description box, there will be the video of 4,000 subscriber giveaway announcement video. Go to that video, and then, of course, leave a comment in the comments section of that video, and you are officially entered. And then when the day comes I hit 4,000 subscribers, I will put all of the names into a randomizer, pick the name, and that winner gets the CDs. So there you go. But now, wow, hiccup. But now let's get started with the second part of Under the Radar with the remaining 3 albums. So this is all going to be underground mostly. Kicking things off with Church of the Dead with Beyond Death. This is a Finnish death metal band that's signed to Redefining Darkness Records. And of course, because it's on Redefining Darkness, I was immediately going to check it out since I really enjoy everything I hear from that label. And from right here in Ohio, which is really cool in its own right. But yeah, with this album, I was going into this thinking I'm going to hear a lot of Entombed worship because I saw in their Metal Archives they were compared to Entombed. Not necessarily the case. Like, this has a little bit of an HM2 tone, but it's not as grisly or as gritty. It's got a little bit more higher end to it. But these songs, for the most part, they're just taking a lot of different elements. Dissonance, atonal riffs, groove, punk moments, blackened moments. Dare I say this could be honestly be considered blackened death metal, because there's a lot of black metal elements on here too. But you also do have some doom sections on here as well. The production itself, while the guitar tone is not as gritty, the production itself is really gritty in its own right. Now, especially towards the end of the album, it does get more melodic and a lot more blackened, especially with the song Wormwood. That song is a pure blackened death metal song, bar none. But yeah, overall, in terms of like the music, yeah, it's going for a lot of different moving parts, and I feel like it could have been put together a little bit better. But then again, this is, I believe, their debut. If not, this is their second album. So still a relatively young band trying to find their way. Maybe by their next album, I'll be talking about this at the top of the top whatever albums of the year. But for fans of Behemoth, Immolation, Haith, and Entombed, I think you'll dig parts on this album. I give it an 8 out of 10. I thought this was a pretty solid album, and for, if this is their debut, pretty solid job. Now moving into the next album, and that is Speedwhore with Visions of a Parallel World. So this is German blackened thrash metal, which anytime I hear blackened thrash, I'm usually very, very entertained. And of course, these guys are on Dying Victims Productions, which again is another label I seem to really be kind of latching on to in terms of recent releases from newer bands. And this album, I was not expecting how lo-fi and raw this would sound. In fact, I read on the album page on Metal Archives, it was recorded and mixed in their rehearsal room. So, definitely very raw. It's got that, like, classic black metal production. It's very lo-fi and very raw. However, the mix of this album is pretty well balanced. Like, you get pretty much all the instruments up front and center in the mix, which is really good. It's just the production style itself, very raw, lo-fi, basically like classic Norwegian black metal, like Dark Throne and Immortal and Mayhem and those bands. It kind of has that spirit to it. But this album almost does feel like more of a first wave black metal album, but in a thrash metal spirit. Like, there's a ton of thrash on here, but there's also a lot of like speed metal on here and nods to classic metal as well. Now, I would say some songs kind of feel a little bit too similar, at least for me, on this album, but for the most part, this was really solid. For fans of Hellripper, Darkthrone, early Sodom, and Deathhammer, I think you'll dig a lot about this album. I also give it an 8 out of 10. Pretty solid stuff right here. And now we get to the final album for the week, and that is Olkoth with At the Eye of Chaos. So this is a Blackened death metal band from South Carolina. And, well, I say Blackened death because, honestly, I think this is more straight up, like, technical, brutal death metal. There's just a little bit of, like, a black metal sinister quality to it that's more of a seasoning than an ingredient. It's just mostly, like, put on top. It's like, hey, we got some Blackened tremolo riffs we can play, and some sections that kind of feel like a little bit of black metal. But for the most part, this is just brutal technical death metal, very much in the vein of fellow South Caroliners, Nile. In fact, I got a ton of Nile nods on this album, and plus, this band originally did have Brad Paris, formerly of Nile, on bass and vocals, but not in the band anymore. But here, it's like, man, the production's really nasty. It's like the perfect sound for this kind of style of death metal, with all the dissonance and the aggression, the technicality, the brutality. Little melodies come in, get to peek in here every once in a while, again with that like black metal seasoning on top. This album just delivers like a symphony of evil, I would say. I mean, I can't really find anything to complain about. So basically, if you are a fan of bands like Nile, Hate Eternal, Morbid Angel, and Hideous Divinity, this is going to be up your alley as well. I loved it. 9 out of 10 for this one. I was thoroughly impressed with this album. For damn sure. But of course, those are all just my opinions. What did you guys think of these albums? Of course, in the description as well will be the links to all the albums in question for you guys to check out and form your own opinions. But until next time, keep your horns high and your dreams wet.